Would you call the roll?
Alderman Rainey.
Here.
Alderman Burris. Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Wilson. Alderman Holmes.
Here.
Alderman Tindem. 7-0, sorry.
We have a quorum. Alderman Grover and Alderman Nguyen are at the National League of Cities learning how to be better aldermen and how we can be a better council. First, thank you, Alderman Braithwaite. The first item on the agenda is the mayor's public announcements and proclamations. And since the Arrington Lagoon project is in the packet, I wanted to again take this opportunity to thank the Arrington family for their donation to the city. That concludes my announcements and proclamations. City Manager.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, we are looking forward to Women Out Walking again this coming year. Yvonne Thomas-Smith, the health director, is here with more information.
Thank you. Good evening. Yvonne Thomas-Smith, Health Department Director. I'm excited to announce that this is our 6th year of our premier walking program. I'm encouraging and inspiring women to be more mindful of how they're moving. And we do this through our Women Out Walking program by giving women pedometers to track their steps, a journal to capture their experiences. And we're excited to announce again our partnership with Evanston Township High School for our annual kickoff, which is going to be chock full of information, free screenings, and fun for all. What we're excited about this year is we have over 20 local businesses that will be represented throughout the 12-week walking program. We have a new and renewed partnership with our city recreation buildings that are going to allow women to not only walk outside the building, but they have internal walking paths as well. We nearly have about 200 women currently registered. Registration is open throughout now and the kickoff, which is again March 22nd at ETHS High School starting at 8 a.m. And we will feature 6 fitness classes, 4 workshops, a gait analysis, massages, and more. So we're really excited about the activities. We would like for those of you who would like to join us again to register now and join us at the kickoff. If you want more information, you can call us directly at 847-866-2965, 847-866-2965, or visit us at the website www.cityofevanston.org/wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. City Clerk, do you have communications for us?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a few. Just to remind you that early voting is going on right now, and it will continue through Saturday until 5 p.m. We have had, compared to the 2013 election, we are now up by 19% of voters have already gone early voting. We have a total of, 574 who voted tonight from the first 8 days of the early voting, compared to 2013 was only 384 who voted for early voting. Again, then the regular election day is the 18th of March. Polls open at 6 o'clock and close at 7. So if you haven't voted early, come and show your vote on the 18th. Also, to announce the township meeting that was was scheduled for tomorrow has been rescheduled to the 25th, same time, same place. Thank you. That's all for today.
Thank you. Alderman Rainey?
Clerk Green, have there been any changes in polling places since our last election?
No, all the polling places are the same, and we just happen to be a 7-day because we increased in our population.
Right, but they're all the same?
They're all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is citizen comment. I'm going to call out the first 4 speakers, and you each have 3 minutes. Please give your name and address. First is Virginia Beatty, then Marco Pavicic, Judy Kemp, and I believe Lisa Weber on Marcy.
My name is Virginia Beatty, and I live at 1509 Forest Avenue in Evanston. I've been a member and taxpayer of this community for over 50 years. The Land Arboretum Committee, of which I am chairman, feels very strongly that asphalt is not a good top for the paths, especially since the paths are going to be about 14 feet wide. 8 feet of asphalt and then 3 feet cleared on either side. There are also some minor questions about paths being put through where there's already something, like, for instance, on the corner of Emerson and McCormick there is, but there's also at the corner of McCormick and Green Bay, there's a sign there that was placed there with the consent and whatever of Deer Council last year, and a planting underneath it. And if you look at the little map that's in the proposal, there's a thing that goes, a 14-foot path that goes right straight through it and through the trees behind it. And since the Garden Council of Evanston was instrumental in talking with Mayor Kimbark way back 50-some years ago to get that thing done, we think that isn't a very nice thing to do to the ladies, especially since it's only 2 days after International Women's Day. You'll be hearing more from us, but please think carefully about how hot it can get on asphalt on your feet and how hot it gets on the roots of those trees that are up quite near to the surface. Thank you very much, people.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Marko Pavicic, and I live in 1940 Sherman Avenue. So why do I care about reforming drug policies in Evanston? The main reason is because you do not have to use illicit substances to see the destructive impact incarceration has on our community. I am recommending 3 city code reforms today. First, I want to reform Title 8, Chapter 13, marijuana, to administrative adjudication and progressively increasing fines for all amounts of cannabis. 2, I would like to introduce a new ordinance to replace incarceration with administrative adjudication and fines for small amounts of other controlled substances. Number 3, I'd like to reform Title 8, Chapter 14, drug paraphernalia control. The removal of paraphernalia definitions G through L would keep many nonviolent offenders out of the court system and have the added benefit of reducing the sharing of needles and pipes and thus reducing transmission of communicable diseases. To immediately address a common concern, experiments in decriminalization in the United States, Portugal, and other countries have not shown an increase in use. Use tends to increase or decrease following national and international substance use trends, regardless of criminalization. What we have seen in countries and cities that have stopped incarcerating for possession is reduced problematic drug use, lower drug use among teens, lower rates of HIV infection, a reduction in opiate overdose deaths, an increase in seeking voluntary treatment, and increased confiscations of illicit substances. Controlled substances, like legal substances, can have significant negative impacts on individuals and their communities. Dependence, overdose, other health risks, and incidental damages from use or to obtain money for use. To most of these substances, we add other externalities like imprisonment, police resources, and the loss of opportunities. Furthermore, arresting the sellers has not had a significant impact in reducing substance availability or even prices. The illicit drug market is an extensive, resilient social network, with purchasers taking the lucrative dealer's spot when the dealer is incarcerated. Then the dealer is shuffled through the system and released with permanent branding, sending the individual right back into the drug market. Incarcerating sellers involves more people in the drug trade and often extends the trade to juvenile sellers. There are significant benefits from decriminalization. Officers will have more time and resources to spend on resolving violent crimes with reduced response times, and our jails and prisons will be less crowded, increasing safety. Decriminalization will reduce the harm substances bring by maintaining opportunities otherwise limited by incarceration, reducing the fear of seeking treatment and other harm reduction services, and diverting incarceration money into effective programs to proactively tackle substance harms. I'd like to leave the City Council with 2 thoughts. First, in a country that espouses the idea of equality under the law, wealthy drug users often receive treatments for the harms of their substance use. Meanwhile, poor drug users are locked up and harmed further by the loss of educational, employment, and housing opportunities. The second thought I wanted to leave you with was that my grandfather had difficulties with alcohol. If he had been sent to prison for the difficulties that he'd had and lost so many life opportunities he did have because he was not incarcerated, where would my father have been today? And where would I be today? These punitive policies have a generational impact that affects...
Excuse me, I do need you to wrap up.
I have just a few more minutes, or a few more sentences.
Thank
Sorry. These punitive policies have a generational impact that affects our society, our families, and disproportionately our minority communities, which is why we as a community have to act now. Thank you for listening, and I hope Evanston City Council chooses to become the model city for progressive substance policy reform in Illinois.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm Judy Kemp. I live at 1026 Forest. I'm here tonight representing Evanston Arts. I wanted to take advantage of the fact that you were all meeting tonight to tell you that when we met with you the last time to talk about our proposals for Evanston Arts, we said we were going to complete a formal written report and present it to you. Well, it is finally done. So I want to first of all hand you.
Thank you.
I'm making the cats cry. I'm
This is
sorry.
all part of the formal report.
Anyway, our formal report is completed. I have given the mayor the hard copy, and there will be one hard copy in the library for community access. Just for a reminder for those of you that don't remember, Evanston Arts is a collaborative effort between the City of Evanston, the Evanston Arts Council, and the Evanston Community Foundation to frame a strong vision for the arts in Evanston and to outline the steps it would take to elevate the profile of the arts in our city, a roadmap for the arts. And the underlying objective was to determine the Evanston residents' commitment to securing investing resources in the arts. The City Council will all receive a link to an electronic copy of this. We're trying to save some trees here and not print too many copies. There will be an electronic copy available on the city's website and the Community Foundation's website. And next week, we will issue a formal release of this and notify all the participants who came to our listening sessions, our focus groups, participated in the online survey on how they can also access the report as we promised them we would do. I just want you to know that we are very excited about the progress that is already being made since we met with you last and made our recommendations. The city has hired, as you all know, a cultural arts coordinator who is doing a wonderful job of working with the arts organizations, working with the Arts Council, working with us who are in the Evanston Arts Working Group. We are reconvening our group so that we can begin to build the ecosystem for the arts, as we said we would do in our initial presentation. The mayor's task force has been appointed for looking at the Downtown Performing Arts Center ability. The Arts Council has begun work on the kiosk concept, and our working group is continuing to build the ecosystem. So I just want to let you know our report is done. It's actually quite pretty, and there have been requests from all over the country from people who want to see what we've done, so we are excited about being able to release this to them to let them know what Evanston's done. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on finishing.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Fairmouth Weber, and I live at 2752 Marcy Avenue in Evanston. I came to Evanston over 30 years ago to attend Northwestern University, settled here and had a family, and over 8 years ago opened Heaven Meets Earth Yoga Studio on Central Street. At that time, I seeded the west end of Central Street to create now what is a corridor of the soul. We've had a thriving experience, and we've served the community as well as people from Wisconsin and downtown Chicago and beyond the sort of close-in community line. And what we do at Heaven Meets Earth includes not only health and fitness and wellness, but we also serve the school community. I go in and I teach kids with depression. I go to the hospitals and work with trauma victims, recovery victims, We have a lot of free programs that we offer the community. I sit on the Health and Wellness Committee for the City of Evanston. I'm the co-president of the Women's Board for Boys Hope, Girls Hope. So I'm involved in doing a lot of enrichment for our city. The reason I am here, the good news is we have a thriving business community at the west end of Central Street. The problem is there's no parking. It's becoming a severe problem in that the new business which opened across the street from me, which is Orange Theory Fitness, which went into a location that was once zoned to be a restaurant, which was lovely for our students to go and do their practice and then go eat. Now with the new complementary business, our hours are the same. We start at 5:30 in the morning. We end at about 9 o'clock at night. We have the same number of students in our classes, around 20. So when we've got both wonderful programs happening at the same time, they don't have enough place for parking at their business. So there's a spillover in front of our business, and our students have no place to park. And so what has happened now is everyone's parking in the residential areas. So I emailed you, I called you, Alderman Tandem. I don't think I've ever heard back from you, so that's why I'm here. I'm trying to understand how the city works, and I kind of feel strongly that being a business owner who works really, really hard to make a difference and make the city better, how do we communicate so that we don't make decisions that negatively impact somebody who's been in business for 8 years? And I'm sort of a little bit upset that I'm facing this problem right now. I don't think there's a quick solution to it. Maybe a short-term solution would be to allow the businesses on the corner of my block to have preference for parking there. There's my business, there's a cleaners. We're both the kind of business where people, get there maybe 10 minutes before, want to run in, do their thing, and leave. And so having to scramble for parking or park far away, especially right now with all the ice and snow, creates a problem, and I'm concerned. But I'm excited that we have lots of growth and economic growth on the west side of Central Street, so that's why I'm here. I hope I hear from you. Thank you.
We can ask our economic development team to get in touch with you as well.
And we have been. I've been talking, but I wanted to be here tonight to speak to everybody and let you know that it's a situation that I brought up before it opened, Orange Theory Fitness, and now it opened, and now it's becoming kind of tense and awkward, and I sat down with Dave, who's the owner, and I spoke to him about my concerns, and he's very willing to work with me. But again, what's the solution? Because there's no place to park.
Well, thank you for coming. Alderman Tandem.
Thank you. I did ask about a week ago for economic development to set up a comprehensive meeting for parking on Central Street between your block and all the way to Central Park. Yours is not the only situation that it is difficult. Granted, the snow, ice buildup that has had an impact, but I've not heard back on a date, but I think this is, if there is a temporary fix that we could, I'm open to suggestions there. I don't have a temporary fix, but my big concern is the long-term problem, and it is a serious problem, and it's going to take looking at things a little differently. We need off-street parking. I totally agree, and that's why I'm convening this meeting, not just of parking people, but economic development and engineers and everything that should come together and really make a significant change to Central Street if we want to continue to build it, like you said, and we are.
And I think that what would make me feel good as a resident and a business owner and someone who's really involved in committees and so forth for the city, the schools, the hospitals, is there a way for us to have communication when we're doing economic rezoning or planning? A block and a half away from me now, another yoga studio opened, and it's not normal for a yoga studio to be in a competitive environment. We've sort of functioned in a more of a collaborative, supportive, harmonious kind of way. So it's not like,
we're going to have to settle this at a meeting, I'm afraid.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Bonnie Wilson, Kevin Johnson, Betty Esther, and Priscilla Giles.
Good evening, Mayor Tisdale and Aldermen or trustees. As you all know, I'm Bonnie Wilson. I'm Evanston Township Assessor. I'm here tonight to give you an update on the Assessor's Office from January 1st to March the 10th, and also some important announcements. I'm pleased to announce that my new Deputy Assessor, Mitzi Gibbs, over here, I'm going to stand, she started last February, and she's been terrific. Many taxpayers have already complimented me on hiring Mitzi and telling me what a wonderful job she is doing in helping them with their exemptions and assessments. She's been terrific. I want to emphasize now how important it is for Evanston taxpayers to send in their exemptions that they received in the mail. They need to get all these exemptions in as soon as possible. I was at the Cook County Assessor's Office today in Skokie, and they are still accepting all exemptions. They told me to please have Evanston taxpayers get their exemptions in so they can process these exemptions for the second installment of their tax bills. So I'm saying as soon as they can, mainly by the end of this month, that they need to get these in. I have found that many taxpayers are not getting the exemptions that they are entitled to receive, especially the senior and homeowners exemptions. They should look at last year's second installment of your tax bill to make sure that they've received their exemptions. They can also go to the Cook County Assessor's website, that's cookcountyassessor.com, and look up their address or PIN number and go to exemptions. Some of these exemptions are homeowners, senior freeze, disabled, returning vets. This office would be pleased to help Evanston taxpayers we can check out with our special software programs to make sure that they have received their exemptions. In fact, all the exemptions that we have received so far, we are going to look them up in our AS400 program to make sure that they've gotten the exemptions that they applied for. Please call our office at 847-448-8178 or call 311 and you will be transferred to the Assessor's Office. Remember, the taxpayer who turns 65, the first taxpayer who turns 65 in their household can apply for a senior exemption. This exemption has to be applied for every year. If they want to apply for a senior freeze, their household income needs to be under $55,000. So far, we have seen almost 400 homeowners. I take these exemptions each week to the Cook County Assessor's branch office at the Skokie Courthouse. This way I know their exemptions will be entered into their system at the Skokie branch office and will not get lost in the mail. Taxpayers who have lived in their house over 10 years and have an income that is less than $100,000 may qualify for a long-time occupancy exemption. The taxpayers who have gotten the long-time occupancy exemptions in the mail are the households that have qualified for this exemption. Another exemption, and this is one time only for this year, is the sunset exemption. This was mailed out to the northern part of Cook County this month. To qualify for this exemption, the household income must be less than $30,000. This exemption will be given if the assessor's office feels it would be more beneficial to the taxpayer if they receive the sunset exemption instead of the senior freeze or the long-time occupancy exemption. The Cook County Assessor's Office will be open for appeals probably toward the end of April. My office is now taking names and phone numbers of taxpayers who would like to appeal their assessments. This way we can notify them either by phone or email when the Cook County Assessor's Office does open for appeals. When we know the exact date, I will also have that announcement on our voicemail and our phone and hopefully send it out to the City of Evanston's newsletter. I also want to make a point that I know that a lot of people have gotten phone calls, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 phone calls saying from attorneys or tax people saying, oh, we can help you, your assessments are too high and we can help you bring down those assessments. Please call our office because we can help you. You pay for our services and you don't have to pay somebody else to get the exemptions or lower your assessments. I encourage all Evanston taxpayers to call office if they feel they've been missing an exemption or need to appeal their assessments because of the wrong square footage or for any other reason they feel they have been overassessed in relationship to other homes in their neighborhood. Remember, all exemptions for 2013 and appeals done in 2013 will be reflected on the second installment of their tax bill. A reminder that the Evanston Township Assessor's Office is now located at the Civic Center in room 1450, next to the City Clerk's office. Our phone number, again, is 847-448-8168. Again, if you don't remember the phone number, you can always call 311 from Evanston, and they can transfer you to our office. Our office hours are from 9 o'clock a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Rainey?
Bonnie, for years, several years, I got the longtime homeowner exemption. Then it stopped.
Right.
And I was told this year when I called that it still was not, had not been reactivated. What do you know?
Right. There's certain criterias on your property, and in fact, when I was at the Cook County Assessor's Office this afternoon, they said there's very few long-time exemptions anymore. They're just
Well,
not.
you just said that that was one of the things we could apply for. And
No, I said if you got it in the mail, if you received it in the mail, you can apply for it. But if you didn't receive it,
tell all of us what's the criteria?
It depends on your property, and I would suggest that you call our office and we can look it up and see what your property is.
So the conditions are different than in the past, is what you're saying?
I believe they are.
Qualified for several years for it.
Right. And as I said, this year, the Julie Hernandez at the Cook County Assessor's Office showed me that there were a very small basket of long-time exemptions that they sent out to taxpayers, where in the past, they had baskets and baskets of those exemptions. Now they're slowly decreasing because your assessments have gone down, and so they're not
My
giving.
assessment went way up.
Well, please call our office so we can look that up and see what the situation is. And I encourage anybody who think they're qualified for a long-time exemption to call my office, because they're not giving them out to taxpayers as much as they did before.
Thank you.
I know it can be confusing. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm from 145A Chicago Avenue, Evanston. I'm here to support saving Evanston Township. Mr. Wally, the city manager of Evanston, took his oath of office as a township supervisor at October 21st at a city council meeting. People would like to know why Mr. Wally took his oath at a city council meeting, not at a township meeting. Why they were rushed? The law allows 60 days to make the appointment. Mr. Alleman's Brave Waite and Wilson both said, why are we rushing as we have 60 days? Please check the video of the October 21st and the law and the town official of Illinois Law and Duty Handbook. So I have a copy for everyone, and returning that in for the record.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Betty Esther, and I stay at 2031 Church Street. I'm here to address the township dissolution. One thing that I've seen in the community and have been faced with, that the meetings and things that have been held where information was supposed to be, that was given out by the township, has been given out mostly where those that was for dissolution of the township was, okay, you hand in your question or you do your question, but really no representing from the community electors who wish to state that they wish to keep the township. I would have to say that back in 2011 and 2012, when the discussion was conducted about whether or not that question in the township, but it was a question, and it was a balanced discussion. What has happened this year with the dissolution question, which is a binding referendum, has not been a balanced question. And I have to say, someone sums it up, and I agree with him. At a meeting February the 19th, it was at the Central Street Neighbors meeting, at their annual meeting. They had Commissioner Larry Sufferton there, and he stated at the end, it wasn't a question of whether or not you wanted the township dissolved. The question is to us, meaning us, the electors, is whether or not you trust the city to do what it says it's going to do. And I'm saying, gee, where's my TV camera? I need that on camera. That was a question coming from someone that had been in Springfield lobbying down there to get rid of not only our small township, but other townships. And we have little say, little debate. I know it was promised and it was written that there would be meetings and having the community, and we would have a discussion about issues and things would be coming up, like a new health division that the city might be proposing. That is a discussion has not been had in the community. The discussion on, we spent $25,000 on a discussion, and I have personally asked that that discussion be had with on the Novak report. In that report, it said to look, to review, and see what's in your community to see how this program can go forward. That wasn't had. We are rushing now to put into place a program that where you have new people. You have people out this week in the office of township. And I got a call from a client simply because I had been working, saying that the township to stay the way it was. And they called and said, now, what am I supposed to do now? I have to go to a different place every week now. Every time I get my check, I'm going to have to go to another place. So I couldn't answer him. So I told him.
Ms. Esther, I do need you to wrap up.
Thank you. To go to talk to the staff there. The person that he talks to, she was out sick. So he was left with a question unanswered and uneasy. But he did show me the note, and I explained it to him what it was all about. But we are getting rid of something and just put it in a disarray when it didn't have to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Braithwaite.
Just a point of information, Madam Mayor, where do our clients currently pick up their checks?
They generally pick them up here. We are having a special distribution at Erie Family Health, so we can sign interested folks up for universal health care. So we've given them about a month's notice that this pickup would be there. We have had one illness in the office, but there are 3 additional staff members there ready to answer people's questions at any time.
Got it. And I know Director Thomas Smith gave a presentation, so will they be after this one day, and I'm looking at Ms. Zester when I ask this question, will we resume the check at the city?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It was just specifically so that we could, as we talked about at the Human Services Committee the other evening, make sure that those folks had access to those health care benefits that Erie offers.
Great idea. Did you hear that, Mrs. Zester? Ms. Zester?
Alderman Holmes?
Well, I was just going to say, and I think it's been a practice of the township to do at least one distribution yearly in the community, because I know that, we used to do it at Family Focus. I know they did it at Fleetwood, at least once a year that they would do a distribution in the community as well. And have some kind of training or something along with that, yeah. So that's not unusual.
No. The question, your answer should be addressed to the general assistance people that is watching, or will go to the internet, which they do at the different centers that they go to hear your explanation, not to me. I just relayed to you what a client was saying and worrying about. So
Thank you.
Put it out for them to know. Thank you.
Ms. Giles? And then Madeline Ducre is next. Madeline, are you here? I don't see her.
My name is Priscilla Giles, and I live at 1829 Ashland Avenue. Even though I come most of the time, I don't like to speak in public, and I have been asked questions by community people. What's going to happen to Evanston Township High School? Where do I go? Do I have to go to Chicago, or do I go to Skokie about my taxes, and other questions that like this? So as much as we've been talking about the township, saving the township, we have a lot of people. Mucha gente que no entiende. There are many people who don't understand what saving the township is about, and there has been no communication for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Madeline Ducre. Madeline, are you hiding behind a pillar? Okay. Then that concludes public comment. Alderman Rainey, could we have the consent agenda, please?
Madam Mayor, I apologize for my electronic outburst earlier. Sorry.
I thought it was part of the drama with the arts report.
I see. The consent agenda is as follows. Approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting of February 24. Administration and Public Works Committee met this evening and recommend your approval of the payroll through February 23, $2,927,256.57. The bills through March 11, $2,579,238.84. Credit card activity, the city portion, $127,461. Library portion, $10,424.01. In the future, Madam Mayor and Council, this line item for the library will not be on the bills list. Next, we have your approval is recommended for the estimated user charge for 2014 with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago for disposal of sludge generated as part of the water treatment process in the amount of $327,651.32. This will be paid in quarterly installments. Your approval is requested for the execution of a one-year extension for the 2014 Green Bay Road landscape maintenance contract to the low bidder, Landscape Concepts Management, in the amount of $24,804.53. We ask your approval also for the renewal of the 2014 Single Source Service Agreement for Building Automation Systems, BASS, at the Police Headquarters and 911 Center with Siemens Building Technology for all hardware, software, and maintenance service visits. The total cost of 2014 service agreement is $25,824. Your approval is also requested for the manager to execute a contract for the Arrington Lakefront Lagoon renovation project with Claus Brothers in the amount of $1,387,525. I'll explain the funding, which is a natural resources grant of $400,000, a donation from the Arrington Foundation of $500,000, and by $586,533 from the city's capital improvement plan 2014. We ask your approval. This is off the consent agenda, A4, and will be addressed by the committee chair. Approval of the Ladd Arboretum preliminary design submission to the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Alderman Rainey, would you remove
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I'll take A5 off the consent agenda. That will be addressed by the committee chair. We ask your approval of to execute a service agreement with the Evanston Community Media Center, known as Evanston Community Television, ECTV, for the not-to-exceed amount of $51,600 for 2014, $51,600 for 2015. This is for audio and visual recording of meetings and the operation of public access television channel. We ask your approval also of Resolution 3R14, which authorizes the manager to lease space within the City Service Center to Evanston Community Media Center, ECTV, from January 1, 2014 through December 31, 2015. You're requested to authorize the city manager to accept the donation of 20 kilowatts of solar panels from Alternative Transportation for Chicagoland to be installed at the Ecology Center and Fleetwood Jourdain Community Center. Your approval is also requested for Ordinance 3014. This was before us previously, for the city code to decrease in the city code the Class U liquor license fees from $1,300 a year to $500. This is for theaters presenting stage performances. Planning and Development Committee did not meet this evening. Human Services Committee met last week and asked your approval for the township bills, payroll, and medical payments for the month of February. The total amount approved by the committee is $124,599.47. Approval is also requested of $10,000 payment for the lead rehab of the property rehabilitation of the property located at 1409 Washington Street. The city has received funds in the amount of $20,000 from Cook County Health and Hospital System specifically for this property and the administration of the grant, 2013 grant. Your approval is requested for the amendment to the service provider agreement between Presence Behavioral Health, Presence Health, this is at St. Francis Hospital, and the City of Evanston entered into on March 1st, 2013, for the provision of 24-hour crisis line access, mental health crisis intervention, and various community outreach and education services at a cost of $73,333.33. The amendment will add 12 months and thereby change the end date of the agreement to December 31, 2014. Economic Development Committee met earlier this month and recommend your approval of financial assistance for a facade improvement project at GMWC LLC, doing business, as you know, the Turkey Restaurant located at 2430 Main Street. It's a 50-50 cost-sharing basis in the amount not to exceed $2,090. The mayor has made the recommendations for the following reappointments: Firefighter Pension Fund, Joe Romano; Minority Women Evanston Business Enterprise Development Committee, Shoshona Baranda and Donna Sue; the Sign Review and Appeals Board, Thomas Keith. Madam Mayor, with those recommendations, I move the consent agenda.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Alderman Burris. Aye. Alderman Fisk. Aye. Alderman Braithwaite. Aye. Alderman Wilson. Aye. Alderman Holmes.
Aye.
Alderman Tindem.
Aye.
7-0.
7-0, the consent agenda is passed. Alderman Rainey, could we have administration and public works?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. A4 was taken off the consent agenda. It has to do with approval of a grant agreement with the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency to inventory and record landmark properties located outside local historic district. There were several issues with this for a couple of aldermen. My reason for taking it off personally was I feel the city has no business paying for the recordation of landmark status on titles. However, I do support all the other issues having to do with this, and the city manager indicated that perhaps the staff could take this back and fix it so that we could apply for the grant, because it's it's an excellent grant. We don't want to lose it. So it's being held in committee.
Thank you. What about A5?
Yes, I'm sorry. A5. The committee recommended unanimously the following, that we approve the Lat Arboretum preliminary design submission to the Illinois Department of Transportation and proceed with the project's Phase 2 for the final design and construction plans. I move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Fisk?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I was wondering if staff could address Ms. Beatty's concerns regarding the asphalt, and if there's another material like the porous concrete or something that would be a less heat invasive product.
Yes, I'm Suzette Robinson, Director of Public Works. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Clerk Green, Alderman, and City Manager. And at Administration and Public Works Committee meeting, we did a PowerPoint presentation which identified the pros and cons of the various materials. From asphalt to, that's the slide that's being shown now, from asphalt to concrete versus crushed stone, permeable asphalt, and permeable concrete as an option. The staff recommendation for asphalt has to do with the low maintenance requirements, as well as the expense in terms of the installation. The issue with, because it's not permeable, the subsurface is not permeable, so the installation of permeable asphalt or concrete really wouldn't result in permeability without excavating and further damage to the surrounding area. We would have to dig so far down and excavate and remove to get to a place where we would be able to drain to the channel to manage the runoff. So that was the reason. We also looked at the rideability of and usability of the surface. The crushed stone results in the path not being available all year round. So that was an issue in terms of why we looked at that. So it's really the large expense that would drive any type of permeable hard surface for asphalt or concrete, and that's why asphalt was selected.
There's just a lot of clay there, Alderman Fisk. Thank you. Does anyone else? Alderman Rainey.
Well, I thought one of the important pieces of this was, as described by Paul D'Agostino, that is the survey and the investigation regarding trees won't even happen probably until June. So the path that the path is going to take isn't set in asphalt. So, I mean, there's more to this. So that's why I feel comfortable moving it forward.
Well, one of the things I think is interesting about the permeable materials is that they do dissipate heat. And we're having this discussion on another project in my ward, and it's been a very interesting conversation that we've been having. So I think there are some benefits.
Oh, yes, yes. Which is, if you notice that we had the reverse, we didn't talk about the lagoon at all. The lagoon material, the lagoon was actually converted to include permeable concrete because it's on a sand bed, ease of drainage, a better sustainable solution. So we actually converted that path to permeable concrete.
That's because it's on sand.
It's on sand.
Not on clay.
That's exactly right, because it was on sand.
Alderman Braithwaite?
Quick question, Director. What do they use in Skokie from Dempster to Howard?
That's asphalt.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's used year-round. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Lad Arboretum preliminary design submission to the Illinois Department of Transportation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That, I believe, Alderman Rainey, concludes your report,
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you.
and there are no other items taken off the consent agenda, so we are at call of the wards. Alderman Rainey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Very exciting. In not very short a time, the Peckish Pig Restaurant will be open, and that's all I can say about that.
Thank you. Alderman Burris.
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Fisk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank everyone, especially staff, who came to the ward meeting. It was a very good ward meeting, and we covered a lot of territory, ran out of time, so we may have to ask the library to stay open a little bit later.
Thank you.
Quarterly. I want.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to make a reference to the Human Services Committee regarding Marco Pavisik's presentation tonight. I think that's something worth us taking a closer look at, and I'll pass my copy along to Corporation Counsel. And I want to remind everyone that the NU City Committee is meeting on Wednesday night. And at the same night, 1515 Chicago Avenue is going to be at the Plan Commission. So that's an important project for us in the First Ward, and people have been working very hard on that. So that's all for tonight.
Thank you. Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to quickly to the Second Ward residents. Our regularly scheduled March meeting will be rescheduled to April. And I also have to thank one of my residents that brought this to my attention. My April meeting is during spring break, so I'm going to either try to move it to the first week or the third week as soon as I can confirm the space with District 65. That's it.
Thank you. City Clerk.
Madam Mayor, I just want to make this announcement. I forgot to say, happy birthday, darling. I hope you watch it.
Ooh. I hope she's watching. Alderman Wilson.
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Holmes.
Happy birthday, Lynn.
Thank you. Alderman Tendem.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you. And Alderman Wilson, do you have a motion for us?
I do. Pursuant to 5 Illinois compiled statutes, ILCS 120/2A, I move that the City Council convene into executive session to discuss agenda items regarding personnel, collective bargaining, litigation, and minutes. These agenda items are permitted subjects to be considered in executive session and are enumerated exceptions under the Open Meetings Act. These exceptions are 5 ILCS 120/2A, C1, C2, C11, and C21.
All in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.